Hi, my name's Bill, and this is a video about installing a hydraulic crane on a 35-foot trawler. This is a 1999 Mainship 350/390 trawler, and the reason why we're doing this is we have a 13-foot Boston whaler that we love as a dinghy, but there's no way to get it on this boat because it weighs 800 pounds. So the overview of this project is extending the swim platform 2 feet to accommodate the whaler and installing an 1,100-pound Steelhead hydraulic marine crane that will lift that boat. So this project is maxed out in all dimensions, length, width, and weight. We've acquired a marine architect that came up with a plan of transferring the weight, which in this crane is going to have a standpipe, and the base, if it was with the whaler on it, extended all the way, it would be 10,000 pounds of pressure on this footprint. So, and with a 2,800 shear at the transom. So those are the forces we're dealing with. And the way we're going to transfer that load is with 11 pieces of 3/4 inch marine plywood, all epoxied and fiberglass, into the transom to transfer the weight into the stringers and into the bottom of the boat. So where I'm at with this project right now is we finalized the design with the marine architect, Bill Prince, and I'm cutting the pieces, which I have 7 of them so far out of the 11, and I'm fitting these all. The transom lazarette bucket was cut out of here already, so I have access in here. And so this week I'm going to also cut this lip out of here because the 2 pieces of 3/4 inch marine plywood will be put in the top of this. So I wanted to start this video, get caught up to where we're at, and then I will be adding little clips along the way as I do them. Hi, this is Bill. It's August 27th. Today the crane gets delivered to my house. So while I'm waiting for the truck to come, I am starting to encapsulate the 11 pieces of plywood support for it with West System epoxy and a double layer bi-directional fiberglass. So the project's moving along. This is like the worst part of it. Grinding the gel coat in the boat and getting it ready for all these pieces to adhere to is by far the messiest and the worst. So this is an interesting piece of glass. It's the fabric on one side and then chopped fiberglass on the other, so it is very, very strong. So we'll wait for the truck to come, and I hope I can unpack the crane, and we'll catch up then. Okay, the crane has arrived. It was a trick getting it off the truck. 720-pound shipping weight. 10-foot long crate. It's big. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Pretty happy, pretty scared. We'll check it out. The crate is open. Ay, 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 ay. There's the power and pump unit. There's the crane. Looks pretty damn big. Okay, there she be. All unpacked and looking beautiful. So, a little overwhelming, but it was a good day. Got some boards epoxied and the crane's here and everything looks right. All the things I've been studying for months. There's the standpipe.
the shear collar, instructions, the pump, hydraulic hoses, and the beautiful fiberglass cover. So, guess that's enough for today. Okay, today is Labor Day, September 7th, 2015. Update on the crane project. I have been busy epoxying boards and building parts and dry fitting them in the boat, and everything is just about done for the base. These two critical parts are the verticals for the base part that the standpipe will mount on. You can see that they have cleats, upper cleats, per the yacht architect. I used the West System epoxy with 404 thickener to fill in the 90-degree angle so that when I laid the bidirectional glass, it conformed to it perfectly and did not create any air pockets. There's the 1/4-inch aluminum backing plate. This part gets bolted to the dagger board that goes through the rudder shelf. And my goal is this week to put all these parts together and glass them into the boat so that the base is done. One of the complications that I ran across was once we had the standpipe where I knew it was a tight fit between the shelf that's in the boat and the forward part of the transom. Turns out it had to go back on top of the shelf, therefore had to drill a 4-inch hole and explore this shelf. Turned out to be 1.5 inches thick, which is good for the strength of the crane or the standpipe, but it complicated things a lot, and that's already done, and it has access that I'll be able to get my hand in there and put the nuts on the bottom of the plate. So yeah, it's been a lot of dry fitting. I highly recommend test, and double test on these parts, because once they are epoxied, they will not be removable ever without cutting them out and grinding them out. There's the base that will be sitting on that shelf. You can see there's 4 bolts in the front, which will be easily accessible under that box, but the 4 holes in the back, that's what goes into that shelf, and I had to make access under it so that I'd be able to put nuts and a backing plate on it. So that prolonged everything by probably a week. So that's okay. It's going to be very strong. So all the parts for the base are done. There's the dagger board. That backing plate vertical will all get bolted and glass to that. There's all my containers. I take tools and glass and end up always forgetting something here, so either I have to run back home. It is tough project, lots of different things. So there's my mess here. There's the battery cables. Those are left over from a bow thruster. They'll be used to supply the 125 amps to the crane. I think I want to find a professional to cut them and put the terminals on, because those are way too long, but they're 1/0 cables. They should do fine. There's the hydraulic unit that will be sitting on that right next to the rudder, on the rudder shelf. It's pretty self-explanatory. Looks simple. So that's where we're at. Hopefully in the next video I will be able to show you all these parts assembled in the boat. Till next time. Okay, here at the boat on a rainy day, which was good for keeping the dust down. Here's the upper part of the transom. I cut the whole lip out of it so it's flat, and then I'll be able to build up the 1.5 inch plywood boards and fit them in there. That's next. But the big deal was the shelf hole that I told you about before. Here's the shelf. You can see the thickness of the vertical. This thing had to be cut in there. There, see the holes on top? So the 1.5-inch base will mount on top. The bolts go through that shelf, and I can reach my hand under the whole box and hopefully put them on there. So that was modified today so that it's flat under there, and it was nasty. So that's done. I'm probably going to call it quits for today. There's the dagger board hole. As long as we're down here right now, look, let's see, light that up. Underneath there on the bottom of the boat is the base. You see that? So the dagger board will be glassed, and that's the next step. It's already epoxied on, but not glassed. Then the dagger board, then the box, both verticals, all kinds of work to do. You'll see all the ground off, gray gel coat, so that all had to be prepped. So that's where we're at. Till next time. Just a quick update. Today is September 11th. The dagger board is all the way epoxied in through the slot. The challenge has been the base is all tabbed in there nicely, but the back side of it is difficult to get. That's not a very good shot. You can kind of see it. Anyways, it is rock solid. Three layers of glass, all on top. Let's flip this over. There. Now you can see the base and the vertical really cemented in there. Okay, here we are. September 14th. It was base epoxy day. So that went well, although it was nerve-wracking. Putting super thick epoxy on top of the ledge to fill any void that would be under there. So I put a ton of it. I put a ton of it on the ledge, on the base, and then did not torque that back part down because I wanted to be the same measurements that I had. So the front is all screwed down. The back should have all the voids filled. Came oozing out of all the holes. I had to clear those up with 1/2-inch bolts. I kept cleaning the holes with. You can see the level. It is level all the way around for being on a boat. On this one, Steelhead says no more than a 3-degree difference between the base and the top transom where the shearing goes, because that's what the shearing can tolerate. I'm about 2 degrees on both, so dead nuts on everything. How did I achieve that? I really don't know. It was just a lot of fitting and double checking and not rushing. This wire in here is just left over from the LEDs. I gotta not doing that till this winter. We want to get this crane in. So as you can see, all the verticals there's 4 coats of bi-directional glass inside and out on all of them. 3-inch screws on the top. Epoxy came oozing out of everything, which was good, what I wanted. And then I wanted these levels to give you a clue that everything was the same as it was before. So it is. And I'll take that off right now and clean out the holes one more time, and then let it sit till tomorrow. So next step after this is finding the plumb bob dead center on that base to transfer the top and put some indicator lines so I'm fairly close once the top is closed up. So that's next. Bye-bye. Okay, today is September 16th. I've managed to get a board into the transom after doing a horrible, awful grinding underneath for what I could do today. But I have it attached with 4 locating screws. Before I did that, I put a plumb bob in there and marked the lines on the outside of the transom. So once the board is in there and it's blind, I could transfer them to the board. Took my best shot at drilling a little hole, and now have a plumb bob in there. So this is underneath, and you can see the locating center and the plumb bob. Hi, it's Bill, September 28th. Just an update to what's going on. Both tops of the plywood have been glassed up and epoxied into the top. Not glassed all the way. The first one was. The second one was put on Saturday. Today's September 28th, Monday. That second one was epoxied in. And I fit the verticals today. I cut this access hole, which I'm going to mount that shore water thing on, a battery turn off for the crane, and probably a new high pressure water spigot to make up for that one that was on top, which wasn't very powerful anyways. So tonight I filled the top completely with epoxy and then pressed in that white, what used to be the top there, just as a fiberglass filler to take up that 3/8 of an inch. That was on top of the 1.5 inch plywood. So hopefully that'll be cosmetically good enough until this winter when we respray the whole thing. And I am thinking that this week I should finish all the epoxy, and then next week bring the crane down. So tomorrow, once I get the verticals in, I'll show you how that looks. Hi, it's Bill. October 4th, probably my last video before I put the standpipe in place and you can't see down this hole anymore. So all the 11 pieces of plywood are installed and almost finished glassing. So those are the 2 verticals. Very strong, very difficult to reach everywhere now. I had backing plates made for the base, and the shearing had to be modified from the original design because of interference with the verticals. But all pieces are looking really good. I'm happy with the way it's turned out. I'm going to show you down below. The base, verticals, my glass work has improved as the project's gone along. Putting on nice and wet, and I think it's rock solid. So that's, let's see if I can show you up. Most of this won't be viewable after
the pipes in. This part will be. So I have to cut another hole 5 inches to be able to get that area up there. It just cannot be reached or done correctly. So I'm going to have to cut another 5-inch hole and then re-glass it up. I'm hoping by next weekend the crane will be coming down. I'm going to show you the outboard vertical side. So this hole was cut to be able to access that vertical all the way up to the top. And so on this panel was water supply for city water. I'm going to put that back. But I'm also going to put a battery shut-off switch for the crane, and probably a high-pressure water washdown spigot. If not in that panel, then probably right below it to wash off the whaler. So that's about it. Okay, it is yacht crane installation day. We are at the marina. Brian and Scott are here to help me.
Eagerly waiting.
And we're waiting for everybody else. So we'll video this as we move along. Hi, it's Bill. The crane project is finished. It's October 8th. It's all installed, powered up. Need custom length battery cables. All the hydraulics are underneath. Everything works the way it should. Pretty happy with it. 4-function hydraulic crane. Multi rotation, extension. And the hydraulic hook just comes off like this. So, we haven't lifted anything with it yet. That'll be in the upcoming days, but I'm going to finish this video because this was about crane installation. I want to thank my wonderful wife for supporting me and all of her ideas on it, and my friends and relatives, and special thanks to Bill Prince, the yacht architect, for his design for support of the transom, and Diana Klopp for all of her help with the fiberglassing and epoxy. So I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I have no doubt that it'll be strong enough to lift anything we want to lift, and I hope this helps anybody that is contemplating putting a crane on their boat. It's doable, and it just takes a lot of work if you're doing it yourself. So with that, I'll say bye-bye and good luck with it. Okay, this is the end of the crane project. I had to show you that it would lift the boat, because that's what this was all about. Here you go. £800 Boston whaler, probably $850. And there you have it. Good luck with all your projects.